Really interesting story about Picasso. So apparently he was sitting in a park one day in France, and he'd been drawing. So he had a writing pad and a pencil and so forth. And this lady was walking through the park and recognized him. And this is a really good lesson for anyone consulting. So this lady said, "Oh, it's the famous Picasso. Would you mind drawing my picture?" And he said, "Sure, sit down," in French. I don't do a French accent. So this lady sat down, and 2 minutes later, she had this drawing that he'd penciled, and she said, "Oh, how much do I owe you?" And he said something like 10,000 francs. And the lady said, "What do you mean 10,000 francs? It took you 2 minutes to draw that." And he turned around and said, "Yes, but it took me 30 years to learn how to draw it in 2 minutes." And that really is the key for anyone who is thinking of billing in 6-minute blocks. Forget about it, because you will never monetize yourself the way Pablo Picasso just did if you're invoicing your customer in 6-minute blocks. You actually need to communicate the value and the experience that you bring to the engagement.
I suppose that comes back.
If you're going to put the price up, put the value up. If you're going to put the price down, put the value down. If you're unsure, always start high, because it's easier to come down in price than it is to go up. Value is contextual. So we were talking about behavioural economics before, and again, this is the art versus the science thing. So, famous experiment done by Richard Taylor, who won the 2017 Nobel Prize in Economics, the beer on the beach experiment. He asked students how much they were prepared to pay for a beer when it was purchased at a 5-star hotel. And I think at the time they said about $2.65. He then said, "Okay, I'm going to the rundown grocery store at the other end for the beach. How much prepared to pay for it now? $1.50. Traditional economics can't explain that, because traditional economics assumes a rational man or woman, and what they pay for the beer at the 5-star hotel should be the same as what they pay for it in the rundown grocery store. Behavioural economics says, no, that is wrong. The context or the environment in which that purchase is being made is different, so there is a higher willingness to pay. The other thing that is critical is that value is in the eyes of the customer. So you can go in and talk to customers about value, but at the end of the day, they determine it. I remember years ago I was working with a business that provided leads from their websites to customers, and they decided as part of the launch of their app, they were going to have the click-to-call functionality. And they were going to charge for click-to-call leads as well. And when I went on a ride along with a sales rep to see what the response would be from a customer, and they said, "I'm not paying for that." And the person said, "Why? That's the most accountable form of ROI that we can provide for you." And he said, "I don't want my phone ringing day or night. I want email leads, and I'll respond to them when I want to." So that was an example where a certain assessment had been made of the value to the customer, but it was completely different from actually their perceptions of the value that they would get from the product.